to the Stranger Still podcast. I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Miles.
And we are back with our 2023 character by character rewatch, in which we follow the journey of our 11 favorite main characters through season 1 through 4.
Stranger Things, the key ingredient is the characters.
Be sure to subscribe, share, review us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're almost done here.
Oh my gosh, second to last.
The 10th of 11th coming out on Stranger Things Day.
Yeah.
It is November 6th, 2023. 40 years since Will Byers went missing.
Wow, 40 years on the dot?
Yeah, on the dot. Of course, we didn't know about it till 2016.
You know, I have been really excited about this particular one because Will is, season 4, it's like all about the emotions with Will, and I'm just really excited about that.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited to talk about that. I feel like we haven't even got into Will yet.
Well, we haven't.
Yeah.
We're about to.
Okay,
I
forgot my intro, though. Can I do my intro?
Oh, golly.
The Castle Byers hiding. Now memory providing. Mike and 11 confiding. Should he stay or should he go now? It's Will Byers!
Worth the wait. Worth the wait.
Well, let's begin. 40 years ago today.
Or as you say, we haven't really delved into Will.
We haven't.
Well, here we go.
No, I meant that the colloquially Stranger Things, like season 3 and 4 were kind of coasting with Will. I don't think it was all about Will, but we'll talk about that.
It was like objectively he was the one who went missing. But yeah, you're right. We haven't gone really into his character. And I personally think season 5 is going to be all about Will.
Absolutely.
Solely focused on Will.
Yeah. In season 1, let's go back there. We meet Will. He's really the MacGuffin of the season.
Yeah, wait, who is MacGuffin?
Who is MacGuffin? A MacGuffin is a storytelling device, like an object that the plot revolves around.
Oh,
so
yeah. I was just asking,
right,
for our listeners that don't know.
The Death Star plans in the first Star Wars.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
So we meet him. He's good. He's honest. He's the kid in the party who reveals that he rolled a 3 instead of a 7, or rolled a 7 instead of a 15 or whatever. And he's racing Dustin down the street, and he is taken with by the Demogorgon. And it's a scary first scene. Now,
I was hooked right away.
Oh, for sure. When he disappears and the light goes and we get the first credits. Now, looking back on it, was the Demogorgon after Will specifically? Because now we have all this benefit of hindsight. Do you think the Demogorgon was targeting Will?
Well, if we had only watched season 1, I would have said no. The Demogorgon is a predator. Will was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. However, knowing what we know about Vecna now, I don't know. Is it possible that Vecna sensed a troubled mind, that maybe it wasn't just the Demogorgon that was drawn to Will, but also Vecna?
Yeah, because he wasn't bleeding.
He could have when he fell off his bike.
But we would have seen it, right? The whole point of season 1 is the Demogorgon is drawn to blood. Demogorgon's drawn to Barb from her blood. We see it dramatically in the water like it's a scene from Jaws. It's a whole plot of Nancy and Jonathan. They're cutting their palms open and stuff like that. But it doesn't come to Will for blood. I don't know.
Yeah, but they show in that opening scene when he's going down the road, they show the no trespassing sign that's from the lab. Mm-hmm. And we also had just had that scene where the Demogorgon was out and it killed one of those guys.
Yeah.
So again, he could have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I think there's kind of two opposite answers from me. I think partly they didn't ever mean it to mean anything special when it first happened. I think we're meant to believe the Demogorgon just came out of the lab and Will's driving down a road that's near that lab and it just kind of comes across it.
Right.
But with what we've set up over season 2, 3, and 4, I feel like this is going to be way more important.
Yeah.
The connection. The immediate connection.
You think maybe in season 5 it's going to bring us back to this scene, or you're just saying overall?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying overall.
Okay.
There's something that brought him there because it wasn't to do with the blood. But okay, let's roll through season 1, and really he spends the whole the whole time in the Upside Down. He does do some things. He connects with Joyce via the Christmas lights.
Yeah, but we don't have like a lot of getting to know him in this season.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we hear him singing The Clash. We see in flashbacks, he's different. He's in this Castle Byers. He's a creative, arty kid, and has problems with his dad and Lonnie, and all the dads of Hawkins think he's a queer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's spoken about in season 1 among Hopper and the bullies.
Boy, does that come into play, obviously, like later. But in season 1, we did not know how significant that was going to be.
Yeah, it was more like he's an oddball, a sweet kid who's just gone through a tough time. Yeah, we didn't know, like, just setting the building blocks for a character that's really blossomed.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just in the Upside Down Castle Byers, hanging out until 11 finds him. The Demogorgon gets him, and he gets tubed at the library. Joyce and Hopper show up. They find him. They save him. They give him that CPR as Moby's "It's Cold When It's Cold I'd Like to Die" plays.
Oh, you love that song.
I love that song. And he wakes up in a hospital bed. Then he finds out the events of season 1. Basically, finds out about 11 and all that stuff. And yeah, he's really not part of season 1.
No,
he's got so little screen time. And in the epilogue, he briefly goes. I think it's either Thanksgiving or Christmas Day.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like eating dinner. He goes into the bathroom. He like flashes to the Upside Down for a moment, flashes back to reality, coughs up a live worm, goes down the drain, and he returns to dinner without saying anything.
Naturally.
Why doesn't he say anything, Kathleen?
I mean, fear and denial, really. Like, he's this young kid who's not emotionally equipped to handle the trauma that he's been through. So I mean, I think it's like a natural thing. His brain is probably just, it cannot even confront this.
Yeah.
So he coughs that up in the moment. Obviously he knows something's going on, but like he can't go there.
I totally agree. When I first watched it, I didn't agree.
Yeah.
I very much didn't. I mean, 2016 when we first watched it, even when we did the rewatch
podcast. Oh, yeah, you were always pissed. Say something. Why did you not say something?
I felt like Will was failing his friends. He just never says anything.
Yeah.
He just lets it all go. But, kind of, especially as we saw season 4 and the complex grief that Max has with Billy, this show... And Nancy's, long lingering guilt about Barb.
Right.
This show is about like emotional stakes inside of you. People give Stranger Things a hard time because no one dies and there's no stakes and stuff like that. But the stake is here. Will is frozen in PTSD. He was in the Upside Down for 7 days, starving and freezing and hiding from a monster when he was 12.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, you have to really fully appreciate that.
And when you think about that and just how he carries that with him, all of the other stuff starts to make sense. And I just didn't get that at first, and I get it now. I don't know.
PTSD, man.
It's real. Yeah, it's like he should tell somebody but doesn't want to because he's not mentally equipped for it. It's a contradiction. It's very human. It's very normal.
Absolutely.
So let's go to season 2. Where we learned that the kids have been calling him Zombie Boy.
Yeah.
And he's been going to the lab for appointments, doctor's appointments.
Yeah. I mean, talk about not being emotionally equipped, but then having to confront this every single day.
Yes, exactly. And back in, and they're not a great, maybe Dr. Owens has a good bedside manner, but the lab itself is not a great facility.
No.
He's having episodes where he snaps into the Upside Down.
Right.
And he has an episode in the arcade where he walks outside, he sees this big thing floating in the sky, and then he has another while they're trick-or-treating, and the big thing, what they later call the shadow monster floating in the sky, kind of comes after him with all his tentacles and stuff like that.
That was a cool scene watching it for the first time.
Oh, heck yeah. It's like the stakes have upped. There's something more in the Upside Down. Mm-hmm. But one thing I wanted to think about, we just glossed over it there, but season 1 to season 2 is a year.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the anniversary effect. That's what we're talking about within season 2 with Owens and Hopper and Joyce are talking about. What has that year been like for Will?
Well, okay, we talked about him not being emotionally equipped, right? Mm-hmm. He's essentially now famous. everybody in the small town knows him as this boy that survived, like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
The boy who lived. But like, yeah, he goes everywhere. He's recognized. They call him Zombie Boy. Like, imagine going through the worst possible thing. You're trying to move forward. You can't handle the trauma that you've had, but then you have to be reminded of it every single time you walk out the door. Yeah. Like, how do you move forward from that? I mean, how can even an adult move forward from that?
Yeah, I love that too, because the kids have a hard time with it, and the way that they process it is by lashing out at him. Yeah. Making fun of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's I think that what I was really asking is he is in it for that entire year. Like all the other characters had like a week, and then they're like the ramifications are of that week.
Yeah, right.
But he's still having episodes and going through all this stuff. Like
his friends are moving on, basically.
Yeah. I mean, there's stakes. I mean, Mike is down bad, you know, about the death of 11 and stuff like that, where he thinks the death is 11, but he and Joyce are living it every day. They're not talking to each other about it, but they know the Upside Down is not gone. You know, Joyce had the suspicion from day one.
We always talk about how Joyce is a rock star, but you know, we've already done that podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Go check it out. Go check it out. This is our 10th one. Joyce was our first one. Go check that. So he's feeling like he's caught between two sides, and he gets indirect advice from Joyce's new boyfriend, Bob Newby, who tells him about Baldo the Clown and says, "Face your nightmares. Go away. Go away." So Will does that to the giant shadow monster, and it just inhabits him. It just goes into him. Joyce gets to the school, takes him home, and she's like, "You got to tell me what's been going on." And then we get that fabulous scene at the table.
I can't remember. I need you to try. I was on the field, and then it all just went blank, and then you were there.
Will, I need you to tell me the truth.
I am.
This is Will's turning point, basically. Up until now, I think that he's tried to shut it all out, pretend like it's not real, but he has to face it. He's having these flashbacks. They're getting worse. His mom knows. And so he now has to face the monster, which is ironic because the reason he's inhabited by this monster is because Bob told him to face his fears. But I don't know. The other interesting thing about this is like watching this after watching all of the seasons so far, because we know that the Mind Flayer is Vecna now. And we know that Vecna is able to enter the minds of people in great emotional turmoil, which is usually tied to guilt and shame. But like, okay, does Vecna at this point know why he's able to inhabit Will? Because he knows in season 4.
So we don't know. The real answer is we don't know, but I think he does. But Vecna doesn't really have the tools with which he later utilizes. He can't snap people's bones. He can't really control their minds yet. He's got to learn that from biting 11 and more stuff.
So like
he's a weaker version of himself. He's like, it's a beta test. He's out there. He's got control of the mind, but Vecna's not quite in control like he will be in season 4.
I mean, I don't think that he knows. At this point, I don't think he knows why he can inhabit Will's mind. I just think he knows that he can. He knows Will because Will was in the Upside Down, so he's already familiar with him. And Will's mind is weak, but he could think it's weak because of going through the Upside Down, right?
There's a lot of stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, and a lot of stuff that doesn't quite fit, which is why everyone rightly suspects this is season 5. I mean, this is season 5. We're speculating. So he does tell Joyce everything he knows. She draws him a bath later. He declines that bath because he's starting to be consumed by what the Mind Flayer, I call him the Will Flayer. He is starting to become, one with the thing.
Controlled,
What he says, he has now memories. He's comforted by Mike, but he's also kind of drawing further away from everybody. Joyce says, hey, you should draw what you see. Will's drawing something. He doesn't even know what he's drawing. It's this big map. Yeah, this tunnels. He helps save Hopper, but as the lab, completes the saving of Hopper and as Flame throwing the tunnels, Will is in absolute pain because he's connected to the hive mind. So he goes to the lab, to the now memory wing of the hospital, where he says, I have an idea, Dr. Owens.
I thought you were going to make me tell you what he says.
No,
he says,
what does he say? He says, I have an idea, Dr. Owens. You guys go here. I know that the Mind Flayer doesn't want us to know where this is. And it turns out the Mind Flayer very much did want you to know because it was a trap. And hours later, he says, I'm sorry. Why or when did Will become a traitor?
Well,
when does he become the Will Flayer?
Poor Will, because he's not really a traitor. It's not his fault.
I know. It was being tongue in cheek.
Okay. Well, I think it's obviously after he uses that connection to save Hopper, because Vecna doesn't realize that Will is using him until that moment that he is able to save Hopper, and he's like, wait a second, no, we're not going to let that happen. And then he takes more control and doesn't allow Will to make his own decisions from there on.
Yeah. And I like that this is all sort of nebulous, like the give me the controls battle between, what we thought of was an ancient Mind Flayer, which is actually Vecna, and Will. It doesn't really matter what it was. I like that it's not. It's like a fog.
Yeah.
And he can't describe it, which is good, because season 2 could have easily came out and been like, it's another Dungeons and Dragons thing that the kids figure out via the board game, a connection to a board game. It's more complex than that. There's some connection here. We were really talking about season 5, aren't we? We just don't know what the heck that is all about.
Yeah. Well, and okay, let's go back to Will. Well, obviously we're on Will now.
I will allow it.
Imagine being so fully possessed that you have no control over your body or like what you say and how you interact to people, but being there. I mean, Will is present for it all. We know that because he taps out in Morse code.
Yeah.
How terrifying that must be. I mean, we know it objectively, but we're so focused on like the whole storyline that I don't think that we really consider how scared Will must be in that moment.
Yeah. And he doesn't know really what it is until later when he learns about Vecna and Henry. This is the end of season 4 that he learns. He's like, now that I know what it is, I get it, because it's all a fog, like I said. So you're right. It's freaky and it's concerning. That's why Mike says, let's drug this little guy to sleep.
Will's life has been hell.
And they drug him. Will and the Will Flayer wake up in a shed. They're hearing stories from Mike and Jonathan and Joyce about his life. And that's when Will does tap out, close gate through Morse code that Hopper writes down. And then they take Will to the cabin and they roast him out. The roasting of Will Byers. And he's again saved from just a traumatizing near-death experience for the second time in 12 months.
Yep. Poor guy.
And this whole season 2 possession thing, a lot of meat on the bone and a lot of rewatch meat on the bone. Having watched season 4, how is season 2 different?
Oh boy, it is so different for me. All of the significant moments are now seen in a completely different way. It's almost like we're watching 2 different shows now. There is the before Vecna and the after Vecna. If you listen to our show from the beginning, you guys know I've never liked that Vecna is basically the upside down. I feel like it takes away so much of the mystery of the show, like the benevolent evil, like what is it? Like that's all gone now because we know it's Vecna. However, that being said, it does make all of these moments a lot more personal. Like the Mind Flayer taking over Will, the upside down spreading. There's this single-minded purpose behind it now. It's Vecna trying to get back to the now world and to create his vision of it.
Yeah. I also liked it better when you watch season 2 for the first time and you think this is like an ancient evil inside of Will.
This other world.
But, at risk of agreeing with you too much, but you are my beautiful wife and I agree with you all the time.
Oh, thank you.
It does make it more personal when it's Henry and Vecna, which I think has a way richer, move forward plot.
Yeah, completely different dynamic.
Yeah, and I really like the idea that Vecna or Henry or whoever the heck it is in season 2 is behind the scenes, and it's kind of like prototype. He just doesn't know what he's doing. It's sparks. He's not really good at making connections yet, like he will be after the season 3 bite of Eleven's ankle, and eventually, getting season 4 really getting going, crushing those bones of those teens.
It made me think of like a chihuahua, like. Arr, arr, arr.
All right, season 3. 1 year later, the summer, a great season. Will is kind of on the sideline for this season. I mean, admittedly so. He's watching his friends grow without him. Lucas is with Max. Mike is with 11. Dustin's got Susie, who they don't believe is real, but he's on about it a lot. And they go to the movies. He's kind of always a fifth wheel. They're on their hike with Dustin. And Will feels the Mind Flayer return a couple times there in the movies, on the hike with Cerebro, but he doesn't say anything. What he wants instead is for him and Mike and Lucas to play Dungeons and Dragons, damn it. And Mike and Lucas, they just don't share his enthusiasm. And he's frustrated, and he leaves, and he has this fight with Mike in the garage that seems like it's about a little bit more than just Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, okay? But we're not kids anymore. I mean, what did you think, really? That we were never gonna get girlfriends? That we were just gonna sit in my basement all day and play games for the rest of our lives? Yeah. I guess I did. I really did. Will, come on!
Man.
We talked about this scene from Mike's perspective. And I really enjoyed that. Now I'm excited to talk about it from Will's perspective. Worth acknowledging first. These are 14-year-old boys talking.
Right.
Their emotional, understanding of themselves is limited. And you shouldn't interpret this scene literally. What are they trying to say, but they just can't because they're 14-year-old idiots.
Right. I mean, God, it's so different watching this, having much more of having a deeper understanding of Will. I feel like it hits harder for that reason, having watched season 4. I don't know. I feel like it's a pivotal moment for him in the group. In the previous 2 seasons, the boys, they're all friends. They're all united by being different, the nerdy misfits that loved D&D. Mm-hmm. But now everybody else is growing up. Things are changing. Mike, Dustin, Lucas, they're having their first crushes on girls. But Will is stuck. I mean, he's not moving forward. He wants to stay in their youth. But and now, instead of being different together, he's different by himself. So he's alone, basically. And how can he share that with them? I don't even think that he's realizing fully what's happening at this point yet either. So
yeah, I think that he doesn't realize, because they lash out at each other.
Right.
Will says you could swap spit with some girl to Mike, which is, he knows that hurts Mike because of Mike's, devotion to 11 and just absolute love for 11 from the moment he met her. He knows that that's a way to hurt Mike. And Mike comes back. He brings the hammer down. He knows how to hurt Will too, because they're so close. And he says, it's not my fault that you don't like girls. They don't even really know what they're fighting about. And it's fear. Will is scared. Yeah. Where is the floor if he loses Mike and Lucas and Dustin and he has to do this even more alone? There is a bottomless pit that is driving Will for this season and next season of what to worry about.
I mean, by this age, you're kind of starting to learn your own identity, and all of his friends are doing that, and he is doing it on some level too, but it's so different than everybody else. And you don't have that common ground to share with the people that you're closest with.
And he has this just sexuality thing that is just like this looming, doom.
And he might not even like realize it at this point.
Mm-hmm. And he goes in the pouring rain down the street, and he goes and destroys that castle. Castle Byers, representing his childhood, calling himself stupid. Lucas and Mike find him, and then that's when Will says, the Mind Flayer is back. Season 3 is a go. Why does he destroy the castle? What's happening here for Will?
I mean, it's symbolic, obviously. Up until now, Will has been clinging to the safety of their childhood, basically how things were before. That's where it's safe. That's everything that he knows. But this argument with Mike, it tears that all away. He's destroying Castle Byers, but he's destroying that illusion he's been holding on to, that everything can stay the same. He's now like, that's it. I have to move forward. I have to face all of this.
And it's the first time he does contribute some let's fight the upside down. He's here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's the first time he takes any action, because he is paralyzed by inaction for most of all 4 seasons, really.
Right.
He's kind of on a ride along for the rest of season 3. They gather up 11 and Max. He does explain the flaying and stuff like that. He's the one who has the idea that we should release.
A little too late for every single time he puts in any helpful information.
Like, when at the cabin, he's like, the Mind Flayer's here. Like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, like, obviously, we can hear him coming.
And then when he alerts them that the Mind Flayer is there at the Star Court, it's already on the roof.
Yeah.
He couldn't have let us know when it was on the wall.
I know.
When it was climbing. But yeah, he does have the idea to follow Mrs. Driscoll. He does, contribute. He's throwing fireworks, as part of the Battle of Starcourt. The day is won. The team wins, but they lose Hopper. His mom, Joyce, is distraught, and she decides that she's going to take Will and Jonathan and 11, and they're going to move to California. And he just says, okay, I'm going to give up my Dungeons and Dragons materials, and that's good by me. No, he's obviously miserable at this. Why does he give up the Dungeons and Dragons? Well, he gives it to Erica, right? Or Dustin gives it to Erica.
He puts it in the giveaway pile because he says, this is going to charity, right? That's what Mike says. Okay. I mean, I think D&D has become this symbol of his relationship with Mike and the others. Mm-hmm. So by giving away his books, everything, he is basically ensuring that he can't share that part of himself with anybody else, thus showing how important to him his relation to Mike is.
It again drives home the early part of season 3 when he's so upset and he wants to play Dungeons and Dragons so bad. It's not about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's about their friendship.
Yeah. Gosh, what a sad arc Will has had, and it's not going to get too much better for season 4 here. Hoping for a happy ending for this guy.
Season 5 is shaping up to be also very distraught for him.
A lot of people on the internet say like Will Byers has been done dirty. He better get a happy ending in season 5, because it has not been a lot of fun for this young man.
Would you say it's been fun?
No, I would not. So season 4, they're in California.
And this is Will's season.
This is Will. Actually, I don't agree. I think he's kind of on the sideline of season 2.
This is where he starts to
we get a deeper understanding. Yeah. And him and 11, they're like siblings now.
Yeah.
A year later, they've barely had any interaction. They have no interaction in season 1. Season 2, I think 11 has like a quick chat over Will's like comatose body with Joyce, and then season 3, I think they're apart pretty much the whole time as well, maybe in the same room.
Yeah, because 11 and Mike are like so obsessed with each other.
Yeah, so we never see them, but then we come to season 4. It's been 9-10 months. He's a witness to her bullying by Angela, and we just see they're super close now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point they've become truly like siblings. Yeah. They together have left everything that they've ever known. And that brings you, that's basically 11 is all he has. Yeah. And he's all she has.
And I love that, because that isn't the way it was in season 1, 2, and 3. We kind of catch Will up
Yeah.
Because season 1, 11 and the relationship between 11, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas is like the magic of the show. Right. And I love that between season 3 and season 4, we get this bonding of Will and 11, and you let the actors do the work. They're just siblings, like you said. Mm-hmm. When we pop in there, they say, that's just for mom's work. You know, they're even the rhythm to their confrontations when he's like, why are you lying to Mike? They clearly are very close. And now Will has that magic connection with with 11 as well.
Yeah.
So spring break comes. Will has finished a painting that is carried around throughout the season, and Mike is visiting. Mike is flying from Indiana to California, and the visit goes poorly. 11's lying about her life in California. Will is a total third wheel, as he calls out later. 11 makes the night worse by getting bullied, I guess. Or then attacking.
Way to go, 11.
Come on, 11. But it goes bad. There's a whole milkshake incident, and 11 gives Angela a well-deserved skate attack. And then she's arrested the next day. So it's all about 11.
So really not great.
Yeah, they're put under. So Will, Mike, Jonathan, they're all put under house arrest. So Will's there, and that's when Mike and Will, they have some friction. You know, they have not been getting along the whole season. He's afraid, can't quite give him the painting at the airport. It's all awkward. Yeah. And Will says, you know what? We got to get out of this house arrest because the government ain't done shit. For 3 seasons, you have saved me every single season. The government has never done anything.
No.
And on cue, the government shows up and machine guns the house.
Yeah. What the hell?
African has not done anything. That sets them on their adventure. Off to Utah to hang out with Susie. Off to Nevada to try and rescue 11. And on their way...
Just a little bit of stuff happens in between here. Just a little.
On their way to see if 11 is still alive, Will and Mike have this conversation in the car.
Iconic scene.
I think that's a good word for it. That word gets thrown around too much, but not for here.
Not for
We
here.
all fall apart. Even Elle, especially Elle. These past few months, she's been so lost without you. It's just she's so different from other people, and when you're different, sometimes you feel like a mistake. But you make her feel like she's not a mistake at all. Like she's better for being different. And that gives her the courage to fight on. If she was mean to you or...
So I do suspect that he's talking about his own feelings there. And not 11's, as he is saying.
Wow. Gosh.
Astute.
It's hard to even make jokes after a scene that serious.
Oh, it is. And it's a great, build up to it because Will is just frustrated the whole time. He's a third wheel. He's not getting along with Mike the way he envisioned in his head. Awkward hugs at the airport.
And he does need to, he needs to vent, and he does it here in the only way he really can, that he feels, at least.
Why does he have to do it as 11? Why does he have to frame it as 11's feelings and not his own?
Well, because he's terrified. As he says in that speech, he's saying it as her, but he really is afraid of losing his best friend. And if that is a huge possibility. In the 80s, being gay, that was not accepted. We're still looking at traditional values as being the only way. So, there is serious risk, and it would completely change their friendship, or he feels like it would completely change their friendship because it could. And so he in order for him to share at all how he feels, he has to use 11.
I think as a homosexual in the 80s, it's so much different than now. It was openly acceptable, just bash even the idea of being gay. In professional workplaces, it was fine to do that in the 80s.
And the 90s too.
In 2004, a whole political party had a whole part of their platform where they said being gay was a choice.
Yeah.
It was so much harder. I feel like that is something that people miss here. Why is Will hiding everything? He legitimately feels it is possible that if he openly says he is gay, that he will never speak to any of his friends again.
And he could be ostracized, publicly. Like,
Probably.
if it became
what kind
public.
of normal life can you have? You can't just work at an office job as a gay man. I mean, this is what's going through the head of a high school. He doesn't know the progress that's going to happen. But I mean, golly, it's terrifying. Again, that bottom, that horrible pit that is below Will, and that he's always balancing over.
Right.
It's just insane. What a character, man.
I have to say, I mean, I think you could argue that this is one of the best scenes of Stranger Things. Really.
I think you could.
Also, something that just gets me, I feel like a lot of people look at this scene and they think of it as like a confession of love, that he loves Mike. And I disagree with that vehemently. In this moment, I think he's trying to share about his sexuality and with his best friend, somebody he loves friendship wise. And okay, yes, maybe he is in love with Mike. Even Noah Schnapp says it, the Duffer brothers say it, so he is in love with Mike. But I think he's talking to his best friend in this moment. He's not talking to the person he's in love with.
Well, and even just saying that, there's so much contradiction in all that. He is feeling all of that contradiction. I agree that I don't think Will is saying that he wants Mike to reciprocate his love and dump 11. I mean, I think he loves he loves their love, but that like contradiction inside of him, like how can he even win? What is he wants this, he wants to be with Mike, but not really in reality, understanding, like it's all twisted up, it's all impossible. There's no like even goal for him that is crystal clear. It's torture. And
I don't even like I don't even see it as him wanting to be in a relationship with Mike at all. I think above everything, he values Mike's friendship the most, more than anything. And to him, like, he loves Mike and he wants Mike to be happy. So Mike is happy with 11 and he knows that, and he would never want to jeopardize that.
Yeah. I think there is something in there that he would want Mike to be the shining armor, there is something in there, I think, but it just doesn't fit reality.
Yeah.
And what he is saying about Mike, you're the heart, you believe in people, you you make them feel like they're not different. That is true.
Yeah.
For what 11 feels too.
Yeah.
He's not lying here. What he says makes total sense for both of them, and he knows that.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's also part of it. Will is also saying 11's feelings in here. It's such it is a good scene. It's probably one of the just greatest dialogues in a car. Right. I mean, even the bitchin' scene between Hopper and 11, this may have topped it. It's amazing. And I gave the actor who plays Will a lot of flack, but not in season 4.
No,
I mean,
God,
crushing
he was
it in season 4.
And ironically, like, he's
only as a child did I criticize it.
God. Ironically, he's most afraid of telling Mike how he feels, sharing that. But in this speech, I'm saying that Mike is the heart. Like, that he knows Mike well enough, and we know Mike well enough that Mike is one of the few people that Will could tell. And I don't think that it would change their friendship.
Do you think Will knows that? You think Will knows that he could tell Mike and not
No,
change?
I think he's too afraid.
Okay, me too.
I think he's too afraid, but I think on some level he does know Mike enough. And I think that's going to come into play. He's just not, he doesn't have the courage to say anything yet.
And these are 15-year-old boys.
Yeah. They
don't have the depth of emotional intelligence that we try to ascribe to them when we have these conversations sometimes. So Jonathan's looking in the rearview mirror, and he knows what's going on. And Jonathan honestly comes to this realization. I've been absent. I said I was going to be here for this stuff. Check out our Mike episode, check out our Jonathan episodes to talk about that in more depth. But as they come up with a plan, they go they provide a ride for 11. She's already blown up the military. And they realize their friends Hawkins are in danger. They're going to have to come up with a plan. The plan is to piggyback from a pizza dough freezer.
Right.
And Will's role is to stir salt into the tub. And then he has this talk with Jonathan, which is also one of the great scenes of Stranger Things. And I honestly think one of the most important things that we need to talk about Will's character.
Yeah. I think it's important. It's important for the development of season 5.
For sure.
We're going to look back and this scene, this talk between Will and Jonathan had to happen in order for the events of season 5. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen yet, but we know it's going to have something to do with Will's identity, with his sexuality. I mean, accepting that.
I don't think it's any controversial thing to say Will is probably the main character of season 5.
I fully agree.
Maybe along with 11, but this chat when Jonathan says, I'm here, and you will nothing you can ever do will make me. Well, you will never lose me, right?
Yeah.
It is crystal clear to Will. You could tell by the acting, which is fantastic, that
so
Jonathan is literally saying, I know that you are gay and you won't lose me when you say something.
And Will knows this.
And that provides a floor. That is, this whole time Will has operated under, he is going to say he's gay and he's going to lose everything in the whole world.
He feels lost and alone.
Yeah, and be riding rail cars, in Wyoming as an outcast, and this is, he knows now one thing. He will have Jonathan.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. And like you said, to springboard into season 5, that's a character change for Will. He's got something to hold on to for sure that he knows won't change.
God, I'm so excited for season 5. I mean, especially seeing Noah Schnapp's acting. He just played Will. Nobody else could play Will.
I agree.
Especially, they started off as 11, 12-year-olds. Yep. God, the Duffer Brothers really knew how to pick actors here.
It's the secret sauce of Stranger Things. Child actors are so hard to hit, and they hit 6 back-to-back home runs. Amazing.
Oh my gosh. And they could not have known. There's no way they could have known that Noah Schnapp's life would mirror Will's character so similarly. Yeah. And that is why he plays Will so well. God, and he does. He just plays Will so well.
I'm calling it. He's going to win something for season 5. I hadn't even seen season 5, and he's going to win something. So the piggyback plan works. Mike, Will's part in there is there's this cascade domino of convey your love.
Yeah.
When 11 is truly trapped, and she's dying, and they pull her out of the tub, and Vecna's choking her in her mind. Will says, Mike, you got to talk. You got to tell 11 the stuff you told me. Yeah. And ultimately that gives 11 the power to defeat Vecna, because she gets the fulfillment, which we'll talk about. She's our last character, so we'll talk about that. And this is kind of a meme, because Mike says in there that his first day meeting 11 was the best day of my life, which, by the way, 40 years ago today was the day Will was taken by a Demogorgon.
The worst day of his life.
Tough look for Will.
God, objectively, yes, that looks so bad, and you would think cold-blooded could make Will feel terrible, but he's not thinking that at all in this moment. He knows exactly what Mike means.
Exactly. They're a triangle. They love each other. I love the scene, when after the helicopter blows up in the end of chapter 8, before all this we're talking about, there is no petty, the love triangle. Who cares a shit?
Yeah.
That's not what it's about for them. This is not a rom-com, as I say.
No. Yeah. And I think, oh God, I hope that they keep that. Like you said, there's no hard feelings. There's no tension between Mike, 11, and Will. I don't think there's jealousy there.
Yeah, I don't think so there. They are going to be in high school in season 5. I could see some drama bubbling up here. Just, something.
I hope they stay close. I mean,
they will stay close. I'm just saying. Drama.
They better stay
High school
close.
kids are dramatic, babe.
Yeah, that's true. I remember the days.
So they travel back to Hawkins and they learn about Vecna. They learn about Max is in a coma and so on. And Will says to Mike, now that I know that it is Vecna, Henry, I now understand all my experiences in season 2, and I know he's hurting, and I know he's not dead.
Yeah.
Season 5. What's going to happen in season 5, Kathleen?
God, we've already kind of talked about
We
it.
have. The whole episode we have.
I mean, we think Will is going to be the focal point. He is going to...
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Oh, I'm getting breaking news. I believe it's the first snippet of the season 5 script. Ding, 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 ding,
Wait,
ding,
what?
Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
What?
Today, the very first lines of the season 5 script was released by the Stranger writers.
You kept that under wraps.
I did, because I wanted to give you a live.
Oh my
I want you to find out.
God.
And here's the very first stage directions for season 5.
Oh my God.
Get ready, Kathleen.
Oh my God.
The sound of cold wind, groaning trees, and ... a child's voice singing a familiar song.
No.
That's it.
Oh my God.
It's got to be Will singing. Should I say?
It's 100%.
It's not young Argyle singing past the Deutsche.
So is it a flashback?
That's all we know. That's literally all we know. I just read all the words we got.
Oh my God, that could mean anything. Like, obviously we know that Noah Schnaps is going to be like the center of season 5. Schnaps, wait. Schnapp, oops. We know he's going to be the focal point. Will is going to be the focal point, but God, that could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we addressed the time stopping in the Upside Down. Like, are they going to do some crazy weird stuff of like Will somehow there still, part of his mind is there? Because we also talk about how Vecna, all of the people he's killed are still with him.
Wow, this is live processing.
And 11, I think, is going to be the one to release that. And I think that's why Max's body is alive, but her mind's not there, because Vecna has her mind. And maybe Vecna still has a part of Will's mind. Oh my God. Oh my God. Everybody. Seriously. I am so pumped. I want comments. Tell me what you think is going to happen in season 5, because holy crap, now I'm going down a tangent.
The look on your face. Oh, heck. You got me pumped, baby.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Okay, well, please join us while we uncover 11's character with our final episode. Mm-hmm. This is the last time we're going to be checking in with you before the release of season 5. So join us, get excited with us, and tell me what you think.
I'm sure we'll pop in the lead up to season 5.
Well,
trailers and stuff like that. But last time we're doing the rewatch, like our formal thing here. All right. Well, I think that's great. What a good episode about Will. Super important for season 5. Super excited for season 5. I'm Miles.
So pumped. I'm Kathleen.
A good night.